for President and Martha McSally for U.S. Senate.
Paid for by the National Right to Life Victory Fund at nrlvictoryfund.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. NRL Victory Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Hey, it's Chris from Wake Up Tucson. Join my good friend Joe Higgins and I for a special election night coverage show. We'll be covering all the races from dog catcher up to president. We'll have infield reporters at both the Democrat Party and Republican Party events, and live cut-ins from CBS News from 7 to 10.
It's your vote, your voice. Election Night 2020 with your hosts, Chris DeSimone and Joe Higgins. November 3rd, 7 to 10 on 1030 The Voice.
If you like sitting around the porch or dinner table sharing stories with friends, that's what we like to do here at Our American Stories. I'm Lee Habib. We bring to you stories about American love, funny stories about first jobs, this day in history, American dreamers and marriages, and even the stories of music and acting legends. I invite you to sit around the porch with us as we share Our American Stories, 4 to 6 p.m. weekday afternoons on 1030 The Voice, trusted local news and talk.
KVOI Cortero, AM 1030, the voice of Tucson. Trusted local news and talk. A Bustos media station.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Lisa Mateo. Less than 2 weeks before Election Day, and the candidates and their supporters are kicking campaigns into high gear. Former President Barack Obama was in Battleground, Florida.
10 days, Miami. 10 days until the most important election in our lifetimes. But the good news is you don't have to wait for November 3rd to cast your ballot. You've got 2 ways to vote right now.
President Trump was in Lumberton, North Carolina, one of 3 rallies planned for today.
I'm fighting for every American of every background, race, color, and creed, including Native Americans. That's why I'm here, Native Americans.
Next up, Ohio and Wisconsin. More LGBTQ voters are expected to head to the polls this year.
In November 2019, 1 in 5 LGBTQ adults were not registered to vote, compared to 88% who are registered this year. GLAAD President and CEO Sarah Kate says people are focused on the fact that
this administration has leveled more than 180 attacks against our community.
She points to the Supreme Court, where Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito wrote this month that the 2015 decision giving same-sex couples the right to marry has ruinous consequences for religious freedom.
There is concern.
Sarah Kate adds,
we've lost rights, and we have been the victim of some severe rhetoric coming out of this administration.
Allison Keyes, CBS News.
The U.S. set a new daily record of more than 83,000 new coronavirus cases yesterday. More from CBS's Michael George.
On Friday, one Tennessee county has made masks mandatory. And health officials in Florida discouraged birthday parties for kids after a Sweet 16 party spread the virus.
We know that about 30 kids participated from more than one high school.
And the Association of American Medical Colleges called for a coordinated national testing program.
With routine testing, we can find places and find individuals who are infected faster and make sure we isolate them.
In Colorado, authorities are concerned 2 of the state's largest wildfires could merge. Grand Lake resident Shelley Olson lost her home.
I had a heavy timber home of logs that were 12 inches and more. And it was really unimaginable. I never ever thought that there would be enough heat to sustain that and to be able to burn that to the ground and to make it into just a pile of ash.
The East Troublesome Fire has burned an area larger than the city of Chicago. This is CBS News.
CBS News Radio is your home for breaking news. With our team of reporters around the country and the world, we give you the coverage you can trust.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
You guys, your customer service and everything, you guys are great. And the commercials talk about it, but I don't know if it really gives it true justice. People need to know. This is maybe the most amazing product I've ever tried. It's so pure, it tastes so good. I'm just blown away by it.
Balance of Nature is now offering 35% off on any new preferred order. Go to balanceofnature.com today and use discount code FRUITS.
President Trump is back, and Newsmax TV is fully covering his rallies live and without interruption. Newsmax TV is rising fast. Watch great shows with Greg Kelly and Sean Spicer. Plus on weekends, Mike Huckabee, Michelle Malkin, and Diamond and Silk. Newsmax is on all major cable systems. Check your guide. Get Newsmax free on Roku, Zumo, YouTube, Pluto, Apple TV, Chromecast, Amazon Fire, and Samsung and LG. Or download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone and start watching now.
The following program is paid for by Computer Doctor of Tucson. The views are not necessarily those of KVOI or its sponsors.
How deep fakes are made on social media, cryptocurrency now available on PayPal, cameras that can detect if you walk into a store without a mask, and 3 tips on internet protection. All that and more next on the Computer Doctor Show.
You're listening to the Computer Doctor Show, your source for technology subjects affecting your business and personal life during this new normal. Your host is an award-winning office technician and IT specialist, author, tutor, ethical hacker, and recent winner on localbest.com as the best computer shop in Tucson. Broadcasting live, here's Aaron Moss.
Hello, Tucson. Welcome to the Computer Doctor Show. I'm Aaron Moss, your host. Good to have you with us every Saturday at 2 p.m. right here on KVOI 1030 The Voice and streaming live on YouTube on the 1030 The Voice YouTube channel. We do have a great show prepared for you today. There has been a lot of talk about censoring posts on social media, not only what is censored, but how it is censored. There is a rise of high-quality fake content being created with video synthesizing software and being passed off as reality. High quality meaning reversed engineered footage to make it look as real as a newscast or other trusted source. If crafted and socially shared correctly, any message can be a hoax. We're going to be discussing how Microsoft and others are keeping up with deep fake detection. But first, highlights of tech news this week. Cryptocurrency hits PayPal. The PayPal newsroom reports they have started implementing the digital currencies amid COVID-19 due to more demand for online purchases. Digital currency is more on the table. A recent survey by the Bank of International Settlements said 1 in 10 central banks will develop their own digital currency in the future. Digital currency is inevitable and expected to become a major part of global finance due to its security, speed, and currently largely unregulated use. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin will become available for PayPal users in the U.S. market in the coming weeks and be more available globally in the first half of 2021. PayPal has also become the first anywhere to be issued a BIT license. The state of New York issued the license so PayPal can implement and educate more digital currency and blockchain in an effort to boost the economy in a post-COVID world. You can go to a retail store where you'll most likely be greeted by a person to welcome you into the store and likely offer a polite reminder to wear a mask before entering. That person may soon be replaced with a computer. A person using oh man, I really messed that up. A new technology using AI will also be able to detect the difference between a person walking in with a mask and without. If someone walks in without a face mask, an alarm can sound with flashing lights. Face covering detection systems are cutting edge and save stores money from having to pay wage to a person standing at the door, not to mention the hefty fines for non-compliance to local regulations. Mask detection systems may be coming to a store near you. They are being implemented in the UK quickly. Local and state governments are looking for standards of monitoring compliance with COVID-19 orders, and the face covering system could be a promising answer. The Computer Doctor Show is looking to interview anyone who is currently using the new Starlink internet service by SpaceX. If you or someone you know are using the Starlink internet service by SpaceX, give us a call at 520-276-8326. Again, 520-276-8326.
8326 so we can schedule you into our program. When I first saw the movie Forrest Gump for the first time, me and my family, we were amazed at how Tom Hanks was actually able to shake hands with President Kennedy. And there was also another part of the movie where he was running faster than a truck. And a lot of these featured scenes in this movie and many other movies were using all kinds of movie magic, trick photography, cinema photography. And but here's a very unsettling question. What if I were to tell you that the same tools and technology that can be used to make sci-fi movies can also be used to create a fake newscast with a fake story, and then take that story, make it go viral for people to see and actually believe more than their actual newscast? Well, anything can be crafted and engineered to look real and believable, and then shared online could be considered a deep fake. Anything from newscasts to videos to actions that supposedly took place but never did, these things are what we call deep fakes, especially if they're specifically engineered to make you believe something that did not happen. Now, this goes beyond these face and voice swapping apps that you may get on your phone. So that's the reason why they can even pose a great danger if many people believe the fake message that it contains, or even think about this, throwing, if you put it in a courtroom situation, actually having a court throw out real evidence because of a video that may have been tampered with. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to listen to a NBC report that was made 2 years ago, and just imagine how much more out of control it has gotten in 2 years.
We're entering an era in which our enemies can make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
What happens when seeing is no longer believing? When public figures are recorded saying and doing things that they never said or did?
Advances in machine learning and AI have now made it possible to swap someone else's face and voice into a video and make it look like they did or said something, anything you want. And this has lawmakers worried.
99% of the American population doesn't know what it is.
These videos and photos are called deepfakes, and they're getting more sophisticated by the day. In April 2018, BuzzFeed created a video that appeared to show former President Obama warning against fake news and trashing President Trump.
See, I would never say these things, at least not in a public address.
It went viral and introduced deepfakes into the mainstream. But the person featured in that video was actually comedian and filmmaker Jordan Peele, and the video made that clear, serving as a public service announcement about deepfakes and how they could become ubiquitous in the future. The technology harnesses machine learning techniques, feeding a computer real data about images so it can create the fake.
So the first process is, of course, getting the data. When we feed that data to our algorithm, now the only information that we have for our algorithm is the sequences of the frame from each Barack Obama and Donald Trump or John Oliver and Stephen Colbert. Our algorithm uses both spatial and temporal information to learn a mapping from one person to another person.
Ayush Bansal and his colleagues at Carnegie Mellon's Robotics Institute are working on algorithms that can essentially retarget the style of one video to the content of another. Things like being able to synthesize a sunrise video based on data gathered from the video of a sunset. He says these methods have applications beyond deepfakes and can be used to improve computer vision technology for self-driving cars, virtual reality, and robotics. Elsewhere, at the University of Washington, researchers have been able to synthesize lip-sync videos based on audio clips.
I visited with the families of many of the victims on Thursday.
Experts say that although it may be easy to create a deepfake, it's actually very hard to create a flawless one. But as Will Knight, MIT Technology Review's senior editor for artificial intelligence, says, it will get easier and easier. Besides, you might not need something very sophisticated to do real harm. It's easy to see how people could use deepfakes to spread misinformation about politics or anything else, holding up the faked videos as supposedly incontrovertible evidence. Perhaps worse, over time, as deepfakes become more common, people might stop believing legitimate videos. the implications are serious. And there are no laws that currently govern the technology. In September 2018, 3 U.S. lawmakers sent a letter to the Director of National Intelligence, urging him to look into the issue and come up with recommendations about whether the intelligence community requires additional legal authorities or financial resources to address the threat posed.
The only way which comes to my mind to counter the problem of deepfakes is to have machine learning models that can just say that this is a real or this is a generated image.
Researchers, startups, and even the government are already working on tools that can suss out deepfakes. The U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, is running a program called Media Forensics, which has turned its focus lately to identifying artificial intelligence-powered manipulations. Combating deepfakes will likely require a mix of several approaches. But as with any plan to fight emerging technology, once a method is rolled out, the deepfake creators might just find a way around it, and the fight against fake will continue on. As Will Knight puts it, it is also troubling how technology is eroding the very concept of ground truth. This is something that could have profound political consequences. I find it very disturbing.
So we can see that, that was a video posted 2 years ago by NBC News, and it's only gotten worse now. So basically, ultimately, things come down to basically truth and trust. Social media sites are attempting to flag manipulated media for users' removal. As you heard in the broadcast, there's a department called DARPA. It's by the government, but it's not just them. It's also Microsoft, all the social media platforms. If they feel that a video, according to their terms and conditions, if they feel that there's a video that is uploaded onto their platform that is either misleading or that they feel is dangerous or that violates one of their contractual things that all the users have to agree to, they have the right to either remove it, flag it, or do anything that they want with it, and not necessarily promote it as going viral. So the methods for detection, as you heard in the broadcast, was the detection methods are kept very, very secret. Obviously, because if word got out of exactly how the detection methods work, then the next deepfake videos that are produced, they're just going to find a way around that detection. So they have to keep these detection methods very, very secret. I can tell you that a majority of the detection now is being done by humans, but as we march into the next couple of quarters, the next couple of years, more and more detection is going to be being done by AI. Artificial intelligence will eventually do it for us. Now, Microsoft Video Authenticator is one of the programs that has been produced. You can actually Google that, Microsoft Video Authenticator, and what it does is it actually gives you a percentage of how true something is. It'll actually take a video and it'll put like a little box around it and show you the percentage of believability, or the percentage of the chances of it not have been altered or tampered with one of these, with any of these video synthesizing softwares. So the question, or I guess we can say the solution for now, is to check your sources. Don't share anything that you do not know is true. Up next on the Computer Doctor Show, 2 or 3 powerful tips on how to protect yourself online from my upcoming book on cybersecurity. We'll also be able to take some of your calls on our open lines at 520-2790-2040. You're listening to the Computer Doctor Show on KVOI 1030 Tucson. We'll be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned.
Perfect Look Photography is a photography business that serves individuals, families, wedding parties, children's parties, quinceañeras, and family reunions. We also do headshots for actors and model portfolios. We photograph all types of events in Tucson and communities in Pima and Santa Cruz counties. In addition, we provide more types of photos than any photographer in Tucson, including green screen, art photography, montages, and DVD slideshows. We provide great photos at great prices. For more information or to get a quote, please call 499-4209.
Solar is popping up all over town. Why? Because solar just makes sense. Say goodbye to expensive summer electricity bills. Call or text Julie Festerling at Icon Power, 520-307-1013. Avoid the new 7.9% price increase with the utility company. Call Julie at 520-307-1013. Icon Power will help you take control of your electric bill.
Distracted driving has become a deadly epidemic. Saving one life from the hand of a distracted motorist is totally worth it. Commit to safe driving. Commit to following the law. And most importantly, commit to saving lives. Reckless and distracted driving is the #1 killer of teenagers in America. Safety is everyone's responsibility. Pledge to give driving the 100% attention it deserves. Phones down, eyes up. Just drive. Sponsored by Look, Save a Life in memory of Paul Garcia and Caitlin Festerling.
Ugly Goose Car Rental is new in Tucson, providing a low-cost auto rental alternative for just $100 per week. The only catch? The cars are ugly, but very safe and reliable to get you to work, school, shopping, and all your important appointments. To reserve your $100 a week car rental, call Ugly Goose Car Rental at 520-261-0439. Again, 520-261-0439.
Computer Doctor of Tucson is the best choice in desktop support in Tucson. They fix error messages, power and boot problems, install of software and hardware, and much more. You can come to them, or they can come to you, or even have a remote support session so they can fix your issues over the phone quickly. Give them a call at 261-5508, 261-5508. Visit them on the web at computerdoctortucson.com. Computer Doctor of Tucson, because technology is great when it works.
Welcome back to the Computer Doctor Show. I want to give a quick hello to Omar. I was able to speak to him yesterday. He's in the process of building a house and also wiring it for data during this COVID-19 time frame. A lot of people are possibly building new houses, moving out of houses. The real estate market is really topsy-turvy, so, and the rates are all the way down to 2.8 or maybe even lower. But lots of things happening in the real estate market there. So an excellent question was asked, does it really pay to wire your house for data? That is running Cat 5, Cat 6, maybe even Cat 7, we don't know, throughout your house for better streaming and higher demand of internet usage in the future. So I'll be in contact with Omar for the next few weeks, and I'll let you know how that process is going. Also, a quick hello to Roberta. She was a caller that called in last week. She needed information on a Bible website that can actually do Bible reading through sound. So a special hello to her as well. And this segment on the radio program is called the Online Protection 101, because I am on a mission to keep the public informed and safe online to reduce the victim count of online crimes. We will consider 2 or 3 cybersecurity tips today, and ultimately a book with all the tips will become available for purchase. The last time we did this segment was the 3 tips were to remove the keys when you are lending out your actual keys to people, like your car key or your bathroom key or whatever, and never ever give keys to strangers. Just go ahead and just open the door for them, but don't actually give them your keys. There's too many ways for them to now copy keys without actually going into a hardware store or some other type of key copying service. Also, cover your hand when entering in a PIN, and we explained that in the earlier episode. So here are the next 3 tips. I'll give them to you real quick, and then we'll go over each one of them one by one. The next one is change your passwords often. The next one, check the ID of people that are entering in your house, service people, other people that may need to enter in your house for any reason. And the next one was to install an antivirus and keep it updated on your computer. So going back to the change your passwords often. So one of the main reasons why you want to do this is because obviously if someone ever gets your password, they can have access to your account. But what some scammers do, especially the ones that are deeply coordinated, what they'll do is they'll wait until they have multiple passwords. So they'll keep your password, Okay, and there's lots of different ways. There's all kinds of malware, all kinds of ways that they can find out or figure out what your password is. Once they realize that that is your password, what they'll do is they'll keep that password sometimes, and they'll wait till they have passwords of multiples of your accounts. This is another reason why you should have different passwords for all of your accounts. If you have the same password, then that means that's just like having a master key to everything private that you own. If somebody ever gets that key, they now have access to all these things that you use that key for. Same thing goes with passwords. So you always want to have different passwords, but you also want to recycle them. You want to have them changing on a regular basis. And the reason why is if a scammer gets too many of your passwords and they have them all at once, they may be collecting these passwords over a period of a few days, a few weeks, or even a few months. They may keep your first password and just leave it dormant, doing nothing. And they'll just keep it. And they'll just wait till they get some more information about you. And then all at once, they'll use all that information all at once. And then they'll attack all of your accounts all at once, your bank, your credit cards, everything all at once. So, but if you keep changing your password, okay, the likelihood of that happening diminishes significantly. The next tip was to check identification of people entering in your house. Now, this may seem like a no-brainer, but sometimes service people or people necessarily that you call, they can be very, very convincing. Like, for example, if I'm not saying that this happens, but I know of an instance where this happens. So I'm not going to say anything bad about the locking and key industry, but many times if you get locked out of your house or you get locked out of your car and you were to call somebody, to like a AAA person or maybe a locksmith, especially if it's a locksmith, many of them don't carry their credentials with them. Okay, you'll see that they have tools and they can do the job. But if you were to stop and like ask them for their ID and their credentials of their licensure to even operate or even perform the work that they're supposed to be doing, a lot of times they're not going to have it. They'll be very, very reluctant to show you ID. Now, if you're locked out of your car, you're outside. It's and they're kind of getting you out of a jam. But if it's a locksmith that's coming into your house, okay, that should be a little bit more of a higher standard. Okay, so you want to definitely check their ID. Even look outside the front door to check for a truck. Okay, ask them, is that your truck? Okay, and just tell them to just hold on 1 second at the door. Then you peek out the other window. You look at the phone number that's etched onto the truck. You call that number. If the phone number is disconnected, okay, now that should put up a flag. If you ask the person who's at your door what their name is, but then you call the phone number that's on the truck and they say, no, that person doesn't work for us. Or if it's some sort of referral service, make sure you get the name of the person who's coming ahead of time, okay, and make sure everything matches up. Can't tell you how many times that this has happened. There's all kinds of reports where people find some way for you to trust them to come into your house to perform some sort of work or service, and they actually do something different. The last tip is to install an antivirus and keep it updated. So a very, very common question that I am asked is, which antivirus should I put in my computer? So with Windows 10, I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback on this one, but Windows 10 actually has a pretty good inert a system called Windows Defender that's actually pretty good. Some computer magazines have even called it one of the best ones that are out there. A lot of these other additional services, a lot of them are just, in my opinion, okay, this is just Computer Doctor of Tucson talking, they are just it's just overkill, okay? And the more overkill and the more security that you have, your computer will actually start to run slower. So you want to have just enough security to make sure that you're relatively secure online, but you don't want to have too much security that you're slowing down and you can't even do anything. You also want to stay away from the antivirus programs that force you into a contract. Many of the well-respected antivirus programs that are out there, they do have a free version, and then they also have a paid version. The paid versions are usually active. In other words, they are actively protecting you as you do that. If you have more questions about that, call me at my office, 520-261-5508. We would like to thank our awesome sponsors on the show today, Icon Power, Perfect Look Photography, and Ugly Goose Car Rental. Please do business with them. They are local, and they help keep this show on the air. My name is Aaron Moss, your host and technology expert. Tom Fairbanks is at the control board. Listen to the Computer Doctor Show every Saturday at 2 p.m. right here on KVOI 1030 The Voice. Stay safe, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Computer Doctor Show. If you missed any part of this live broadcast, we post all our episodes online at computerdoctorshow.com. Remember, the world is getting more and more tech, and so should you. To stay current with technology, listen to The Computer Doctor Show each week for local and global tech insights. If you have suggestions for a topic on a future show, send us an email at info@computerdoctorshow.com.
I believe in my state.
He's now in Luzerne County. President Trump started his day in Florida, casting his ballot and giving a plug for in-person voting.
It was a very secure vote, much more secure than when you send in a ballot, I can tell you that.
Insidious side effects from bad air quality. CBS News correspondent Vicki Barker explains.
The study of British cities found even small increases in exposure to air pollution are linked to significant rises in depression and anxiety. And they say people living in the most polluted places are twice as likely to experience mental health problems as those in the least polluted areas.
CBS News Brief, I'm Lisa Mateo.
The SparkCom radio program, paid for by Sunsweep LLC. The views expressed are not those of KVOI or its sponsors.
Welcome to another episode of the SparkCom podcast, where we discuss innovation trends and what's coming next in business. How are you doing today, Adam?
I'm doing great, Manny. How's life in Tucson?
Life is grand. Now, you just got back from a trip that took you to the other side of the world, huh?
Yeah, I did. It was quite enlightening.
I'm sure it was. One of the things I want to talk about today has to do with the entertainment industry in the sort of the end of the delta of the industry, right, where it ends. Typically, movies would be released, big budget movies at least would be produced and come up out of Hollywood and these other places, and the destination was the big box movie theater. And as a kid, I remember it was always a big event to go to the movie theater. And then having kids and pulling out my wallet and understanding it was going to be a $60, $80, $100 bill, going to the movies, it sort of began to come out of favor in our family. It's still fun, but when we could sit back and push a few buttons and have Hulu or Netflix on, it made going to the movie theaters a little bit less luxurious. So what are your thoughts on that industry in general?
Well, I think it's fascinating. I live in Las Vegas, and of course, we're just a brief 3-hour drive from Los Angeles. And Los Angeles and Hollywood, that's the movie capital of the world. So we get a tremendous amount of entertainment news here in Las Vegas. And of course, a lot of the entertainers perform in Las Vegas as well. And what's always striking to me is just how out of step the industry is with what's going on in the world frequently. I think it's a couple of things. The time cycles of how long it takes to make something is still ridiculously long. They can take a year or even longer to fund and make a movie. Sometimes if you look from the script to the funding to the production to the manufacturing to the distribution, you could have a 2-year cycle. 2 years. Nothing in the world takes 2 years anymore, right? Just incredibly slow. That's out of step. The idea of how they put these things together, the different pieces, still almost like something out of the 1940s. Who's the producer, who's the director, who's going to be in it. It's not streamlined at all. It's a very archaic system about how they put the things together. And one that struck me the hardest was this notion that the Academy Awards, through the union, the music industry union, is in a position where it said that movies could not be reviewed for Academy Awards unless they were released in a theater. And I was just sort of dumbstruck by that statement a year ago, because it occurred to me that how few people go to theaters, and why would you do that? And it gets back again to guys that run the industry today, like Steven Spielberg, and the people, they're old. These are people that are in their 60s and 70s and 80s. They're the leaders of the industry, and they still haven't caught up with what's going on technologically. They haven't caught on in a big way to how the consumer is absorbing their material. And so they still want to sit back and live as if it's the previous world. So that, as you said, big box office productions, how much money? You're spending $100, $200 million. And I'm just kind of fascinated. I look at all this and say, wait a minute, with today's technology, with the cost of cameras the way they are, with the way you can do so much on such a limited budget, that all of that just seems very arcane, very archaic to me. And I think they got hit with a real blow when COVID came along, because we had the shutdown. And when the shutdown happened, there was a sense of, well, okay, for 2 or 3 months, we'll kind of lay back and let's figure out if we're going to delay the Academy Awards for a year, what we're going to do. But last week, we had Cineworld, which owns Regal, come out and announce that it was going to close all of its theaters. That it was just like, it had reopened, it wasn't working, they weren't making any money, and they were going to close their theaters indefinitely, certainly well into 2021. They didn't even know if they'd be open again by 2022. And this sort of rattled the cage. It made people sit there and wonder, well, what are we going to, what's the next step? And then AMC came out this week, here it is, second week of October, and they said, hey, we're going to run out of cash. They didn't say they're going to go bankrupt. They said by the end of the year, we will have run out of cash. So our theaters are open. We're probably going to have to close some more theaters. We're going to be out of cash. And if you run out of cash, you go bankrupt. That's what happens. And they're saying they're going to be in that position by the end of the year. Now, the theater people are saying the reason they're going out of business